What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Glad to see you all came back. I took a road trip across this great country, United States, from Atlanta to Denver, and I did it in a new Tesla, actually, and I am now officially in the cult, as some call it. I am really bullish on Tesla, and not just the stock, but just the tech. I mean, this week there's a lot of news coming out this week about it. Let me pull it up here. So while I was away, Tesla reported record sales in quarter two and increased production as well. And my friend who knows just how cheap I am about spending money figured there must be something to the fact that they got me to buy a Tesla before the end of June. In fact, they did. They offered some price incentives and also 3 years of supercharging to get them off the lot. And I went with it. And so I'm really happy. I am. I had a great time. Everyone asked me like, whoa, did the range bother you? No, not at all. It was really nice to have free supercharging, but no, it took it from Atlanta to Denver. There's a little dicey spot in Texas because it was over 100 degrees, but there was no problem. It was quite enjoyable. And the self-driving features, wow, this is what I want. That's what I've wanted for years. I'm tired of driving my car. But I'm really happy with that. And yeah, I mean, and that's reflected in the chart. I mean, now, no one would have thought that back in January of this year when Tesla was at $100. But of course, now that we're up almost to 300 and have been going up for the better part of the entire year, now people are getting bullish with it. Well, it makes me wish that I owned more Tesla stock, but I'm going to have to be patient. I know people pop into my Discord periodically at this point and ask me, when should I buy Tesla? And the answer, I'm sorry, it's back around 160. I made multiple posts about it, talked about it in different live streams. This was my plan. That's really to get into Tesla stock. I was waiting on basically the pullback that we had of 2022, but then also waiting for some sort of a smart, reasonable pullback, which was the 50% of the 2023 initial move. This was the January push that got everyone interested. A lot of people bought it here. A lot of people bought it in February, wanting to catch it, didn't want to miss it. They're fine now. They're fine. And so that's the way I kind of look at buying Tesla. Now, if you buy Tesla now at 280, in the long run, you're going to be fine, but you're going to take a drawdown. And so what I'm waiting for is that drawdown to happen, and then I want a little bit more. And this is entirely non-technical. This is just the fact that, here, basically, in addition to Ford and GM, now Mercedes is going to join the supercharging network, which honestly, as a Tesla owner, I'm not too happy with, because that means that I'm probably going to be competing with other lesser vehicles to actually to charge if I show up to one. But I didn't have a problem on the trip. I never ended up having to wait, and the charges were very quick. EVs are interesting. Can you drive for 4 or 5 hours on a full tank and not stop? No, you can't do that. But the stops were not that bad, and I really enjoyed it. It's more about the driving features. I mean, you can get like a Chevy Volt or something like that to have an EV, but being able to turn on the auto nav and it's just so relaxing to let the car drive itself. Some people are all about like, I love driving my car. Well, right, but do you like driving your car in stop and go, and do you like driving it on a interstate for 2 hours straight? No. So, but the S that I got, if you enjoy a fast car, I encourage you to actually drive or ride in a Tesla, because internal combustion, it just can't do it. It just can't do it. So, all right. Oh, no sound on Discord. Alex, Jen, is there sound on Discord? He has sound. All right. Well, hopefully we can get that resolved for Alex. All right. Well, I've been gone, and so I need to catch myself up and need you guys' help. So, if there is stuff, is the Discord tab muted? I don't know. If you guys have things to look at or things that I may have missed in the last week, let me know. But I'm, of course, going to lay out some plans here and check up on positions. Things, when I checked, got back this week, most all of my stocks that I have put on in the last several weeks were up. So, yeah, Tesla and the things that are carrying my portfolio now are Tesla and, of course, okay, Alex. Tesla and, of course, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Those are the two biggies that have been doing very well. And also Waste Management, but that's always been a big position of mine. But let's start from the top down. I think I saw some weeping and gnashing of teeth about the price action today on the S&P 500. This I saw it this morning when I woke up. I didn't have time to trade today, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't. This little news event that we had at 8:30 gave us a little spike, came down to here, came up, and then calls did not do well since we basically started. We came back to where we started by the end of the day. Um, Alex, in the last stock that I put on was actually Target, and that is getting a little dicey. I'll probably evaluate this Monday if I want to get out of it or not, but this is a longer term play off of this level. It needs to hold here basically. But in the last trade I took before I left was Target, and so yeah. But really, the trades have been in the first. Hey, thanks, Meehan. Have been in the first quarter of the year when everyone was pessimistic. We had a very interesting open to the year, starting here. This is the S&P 500 futures. So basically, we opened the year here. We had a little pump in January brought on by AI. And then we came back in March and we had that banking crisis, which everyone assumed this was going to be the start of this great recession. But funny enough, I don't hear people talking about a recession anymore. Now people have pretty much accepted that we're in a bull market. Just hold on to that thought for just a second. This is important. This is really important that I want people to internalize. Remember how many of the smartest of experts constantly told us about how we were going to go into a recession. Maybe we will, but everyone was absolutely certain that we were going to go into a recession. And where is it? Unemployment is incredibly low. Stocks are up. Companies are making profits. Yes, there's inflation. Yes, the cost of living is up. There's always going to be problems, but everyone is so addicted to doom porn that they've missed out on the opportunities of this year. And now, as we get into the latter part of the summer, you're going to start getting into the month of August and then the month of October, which historically have had some really sketchy, dicey events. I'm not saying I know the future, but as a trader, I'm a little superstitious. And those 2 months, August and October, October was, of course, the Black Monday, way back in the Great Depression, but other events too. August was in 2015 was what hurt me personally. So I'm superstitious about the next coming months until the end of the year when you get that Santa Claus rally. So we're getting into this really dicey part of the market, and suddenly everyone's bullish. And I think a lot of people are going to get hurt. I think that you have to be brave and take the opportunities when everyone thinks that the market's going down, when everyone thinks that the future is bleak. That's when opportunity lies. That's where opportunity lies. And I want you guys to just think about this because I've gone through 10 years, a decade of professionally watching and trading markets. And every day I read the news. I read Google News. I read Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge is, for one, you got to be contrarian to Zero Hedge in a lot of ways. Um, yeah, but I mean, I need to go back and do a collage of all the doom that people have been writing about the markets over the course of the latter part of 2022. I mean, the bottom for the market was the October CPI print in 2022. That was the bottom. And that actually incidentally kicked off a pattern that I trust more than anything else. Well, I equally trust that in 50% retracements, but basically when price failed to really break down, that creates a spike of price where it takes out that low and then closes back above it the next day here on the ES futures. That was key. That was the bottom of the market. And that's the kind of thing I look for on any time frame, any instrument, is a fake out. And it's as we go into the future, as we look at this October 13th event right here on the ES futures. I don't think it's going to be, no, it's not going to be on the SPY because that was at an 8. Well, actually it is. Actually, the market opened there on October the 13th. Yeah, to create a spike down here on SPY, SPX. And so this is going to be a textbook example of how price spikes, how false breakouts can really signal a trend reversal, a price reversal. And that's why you need to look at these kind of events. So key, so important to be wary of these things. And also, it fits with what I'm saying, where everyone gets thinking one way, just super pessimistic, super bearish, and then all of a sudden, inexplicably, it swings back the other way. I don't think it's inexplicable anymore. I think that's just the way it is. But it's very hard for people to, it seems very hard for people to cut through the morass of negativity because we're tuned as creatures, as animals. If someone said to us, hey, there's a tiger in those woods over there, and that bush over there, we're like, oh, well, I don't need to go over there. So we're highly tuned to people telling us that bad things are going to happen, and we like, share, subscribe, and retweet them. But the reality is, this has been a year of opportunity. And now, unfortunately, for people that are late to realize that, the opportunities are going to be slim. And they may have a certain degree of pain associated with them. I mean, when you have a market such as this, where you have very wide movements, and then all of a sudden you kind of go up here and you don't have a pullback, and we haven't had a major pullback since March. So 4 months we just had bullishness. Everyone's starting to turn bullish. Yeah, Z, there's something about the summer months where there's less trading typically. But this summer, just like the last few summers, basically since 2020, summers have been a lot different. When I was going through my formative years as a trader, let's say the summers of, let's say 2014, like July of 2014, here's a little example of July of 2014. Basically, the market trended up slowly throughout the month of throughout the year of 2014, and I want you to pay attention to this right here. You see these bars? So these are daily bars of ES futures. This big bar, the biggest one in July of 2014, 10 years ago, that was only 22 points. I mean, I sometimes have a stop of 22 points. And today's movement was only 8, but that's just a good example of how volatility has changed, and it's actually getting pretty low now in the 14s on the VIX. But yeah, there's going to be some kind of a pullback here this month, next month, September. It's just what markets do. And so it's very difficult for me to be looking aggressively bullish. I'm looking for opportunities, but the opportunities are going to come on a pullback. People that have jumped in late, they got to get killed. They got to lose money so that you and I can find good opportunities. You can't just sit back and wait for the market to, rise for 7 months and then all of a sudden decide, oh, well, this recession everyone told me about isn't going to happen. Let me start buying something. I mean, you can definitely add to things that you want to hold long term. Like if you want to buy Tesla because you love the company, then go ahead and buy it. But as a trader looking for low risk, high reward opportunities, now you got to be smart. I don't think I want to go bearish, but I'm open to it, at least to capture a potential pullback. And just in the price action of the last few weeks, one could say that we've gotten into a little double top situation. But if you notice the red line here, basically what has happened today is if we clean everything up, we've come to this recent June 23rd to June, the 26th of June to the 30th of June, 50% level. And so far we have held it. So NASDAQ, NASDAQ made up of tech, which has really been lifting. Looks like basically the same pattern. NASDAQ is even more bullish. I mean, that's, look, a trend can go on a very long time. And this trend has been holding the Tinkinson for since April up until June when we started seeing some weakness. So you got to be clever in this time. I'm going to sit back next week, come in, and I'm going to do my scans, and I'm going to look for opportunity, but I need to be ready to go either way, basically. That's what I'm going to be looking for going in. So as I was saying with volatility, I'm going to do the market recap now, and then we'll start looking at some of the symbols that you guys have put in. So get them in the chat if you want to look at them. I'm going to do a quick market update, and this is for my benefit and your benefit too, because it's been a while since I've looked through each single chart in detail, and then we'll look at you guys' symbols. So put them in the chat, and we'll get to them in just a second. All right. So VIX as my interesting study to let you know how good is it going to be to trade. And the good times of trading were the last few years when VIX was in the 20s, the 30s, and you don't really want it at 40 because the market's crashing. But now we're starting to get into the teens, and I thought for a second we were going to get down to the single digits of VIX. What VIX is the volatility index. It is the measure of implied volatility of SPY options, 30 days to expiration. And this implies what the market thinks is going to happen in the future movement-wise. Not up or down, not exactly, but it implies what kind of movement they expect. And so as we've gone bullish this year, the sizes of the moves, the swings, have been smaller and smaller. Like I was saying about 2014, the a big day this year in June, this big green bar was about 47 points, 50 points, 50 points of movement in the whole day. If we go back to January of this year, just to put it into context, a big day was almost 100 points. So we have almost half as much movement in a typical day today, now in July, as we did last January at the beginning of the year. And that's reflected in VIX, the volatility index, because at that point, VIX was around 20, whereas now we're down in the 14s. We're less. So the market is pricing in less movement over a given amount of time. Typically, that comes in a bull market. Not always. But VIX has been rather interesting. It's been very the linkage between the VIX and the stock market has been very unique this year. Very unique this year. I'm sure it's happened before, but normally when the market is down like it is today, even 0.2%, VIX would be up. And the inverse is true. When the market goes up, VIX would go down. But I've seen it go either way. So as far as a indicator, VIX is becoming less useful to me this year. TLT, well, this is unfortunate to look at because this was one of my picks for this year, 2023, and the reason it's going down is exactly why I listed this number one right here. Fed increases rates, TLT goes down. So the reason, the big move this week, the big talk, I think because of the jobs numbers, people are speculating, there's no word yet, that the Fed is going to raise rates more going into this year. I think they were only supposed to raise it one more time, but now the market is speculating they're going to need to do more rate increases. And what's that going to do to bonds? It's going to decrease the value of bonds. Yields go up, bond values go down. And yeah, that's not good for my TLT trade. But we're going to see if it holds above 91.85. I would like for it to have held 101, but it does seem to be breaking down now. But we'll give it a little bit of more play here. Big stop on that one. Gold. Gold is still a trade that I am in short, and I am short off the daily. It was a spike in May the 5th. This was basically, it topped out here at a little over 2,000, 285. And essentially that was right at the high, the all-time high from August of 2020. And if price gets up to an all-time high and I see a spike out where price comes up and then flashes back down inside the range, I got to take that. I got to take that. So this is a daily trade. I'm expressing it with GLD, the ETF, but I'm still looking for this thing to come back down to about 1851, 1850, the 50% retracement of the November 2022 move up to this high up here. With Ichimoku, it has now done a complete trend change. In other words, we got price and a momentum below the cloud. So gold is now trending bearish. And again, it goes back to reading the news. Zero Hedge had something about where, oh, national banks have increased their gold holdings, by whatever. Zero Hedge is always going to be pro gold, mainly because a lot of their sponsors are gold sellers. But the trend, the price tells me gold's on the way down. Silver, I don't have a position in silver, but it's going to basically move like gold. Oil. Oil has been interesting in that it held the 50% retracement if you started at zero on the futures. I'm using the futures here. This little spike from April of 2020, basically the greatest opportunity to buy, energy companies in our lifetime, which everyone missed because EV was so popular then. That's another thing. Like everyone was so held up on EV back in 2020 and 2021, and they missed huge opportunities in ExxonMobil. Everyone just assumed that we were going to switch to electric vehicles. Glad I had this in my long term. It's just we still use a lot of oil. Okay, think to the news you were reading in 2020 and 2021. Biden had just gotten elected. Democrats were big on EV. Rivian was coming out. Nikola was coming out. It was all just EV, EV, EV. Everyone was buying it, and everyone lost a lot of money. The opportunity was in dirty energy at the time, oil. Everyone thought that they were going to go out of business because of EV and stuff like that, but it didn't make any sense at the time. And man, I thought I was crazy. I thought I was like, why is no one else seeing the fact that oil is not zero, oil is not free, and companies that supply it, which are in case of ExxonMobil, were trading below book value. Why is no one seeing this opportunity? Well, it's because people got locked into the narrative. You got to reject that mainstream news narrative. You got to think for yourself. But oil holding this, let's call it 65, 50% retracement. Looks like it's coming off of it too. So oil up. Dollar, not much has changed in the dollar. It's still holding the 102, 50% retracement. Stalling out, things are getting a little less interesting, but I'm still going to assume, like I have this arrow already marked, that dollar goes up. Bitcoin. It is holding on to its highs up here. Man, look at that. It can't break through. Cannot break through. Do a little history lesson on Bitcoin. So this year, this year in Bitcoin, it has been the year of 50%. And in January, Bitcoin broke out of the cloud, signaling a trend change, bullish. And then upon the great and dire banking crisis of 2023, where we were all going to lose our dollars, Bitcoin actually went down and pulled back to a 50% retracement there. And then once again, from that low to here, Bitcoin came and held at this 50% retracement, matching with the past highs there as well. And that triggered this move up. I saw something this week where the CEO of BlackRock, who in 2017 called Bitcoin a tool for money laundering only, is now selling, trying to get people into, or trying to get past, they haven't got it passed yet, their Bitcoin ETF. And so now he's all about it as an asset class, which of course Bitcoin folks are, seal clapping because it's going to pump their bags. But I don't like that. If you watch my live streams, I do not like the tie of Bitcoin to legacy financial. I think it's a bastardization of it. And I don't think it's going to end well. And it makes me not be very interested in Bitcoin. If I'm going to, work with something that is going to be regulated and taxed, I'll just trade stocks. I mean, there's no unique benefit to Bitcoin other than its scarcity, and I could just buy baseball cards for that. And it doesn't move money faster. It just has a religion behind it. And man, are they really, really high on the hog, as we say here in the South. Very excited about the current price of Bitcoin. But in my mind, what is going on right now is Bitcoin is trying to test the 50% retracement of the leg down from April of 2022. Hasn't quite touched it. Let's call it 32K. But that's a major, major resistance. Like I said, this year has been 50%, 50% holds. There's been 50% holds twice this year to prove that you have to respect 50% levels in trends. And so you also need to respect it on the way down. A lot of Bitcoin people do not want to think of the fact that Bitcoin may go down, or they shrug it off saying, I'm in it for the long term, presuming that this much storied utopia of Bitcoin being the only money in the world is a foregone conclusion. Sorry to tell you, it's not. It kind of sucks as money. You know why? Because nobody spends it, because they think it's going to be worth more tomorrow. I'm a trader, and I think this market here in crypto, this is a trader's market. You have to be nimble. And I exited my 2 trades of the year already in profit. That was the breakout, which I closed down here at 25. And then everyone was like, oh, you missed this last 25%. Well, you know what? Let's see. Let's see what happens for the rest of the year. Because I'm sitting here looking at this little action right here. Yes, it could go either way. And as a trader, I've internalized anything can happen. Talk to some Bitcoin maxis, and they're just, it's Bitcoin only go moon. This is dangerous. It's 50-50 at this point, at best. I'm hoping to be validated. My ego's, I have a little bit of ego in this. I do. I don't have any skin in the game anymore. I've taken my profits. But I want to illustrate to people the value of trading. I love it. I've dedicated the last decade of my life to it. I want people to appreciate the value of being able to read a price chart, see patterns, to make good decisions and find opportunity. And what I want to see, yes, there's a little ego among it's among friends though. It's friends. I don't really post on Twitter or get into Twitter arguments, but I do talk to actual real life friends that are Bitcoin maxis, and I have told them, look, the trend for 2023 officially ended. And what could happen is it could come back down below this 50% and really truly signal the end of it. And then the people that did not pay attention to these warnings, pay attention to these opportunities to sell at the high of the year, it's going to be a hard lesson for them. It's weird because in some ways I really hope for their sakes, for their bags, for their portfolios, that I'm wrong, but I've just seen some stuff. So, oh yeah, Magic the Gathering is another thing. Actually, I'd rather have Magic the Gathering cards than baseball cards. All right, I know I've got some things to look at. What can you buy now, Artur? Well, at the beginning of the video, I'll say everyone now is coming and asking those questions because the market's been moving up. This is not the time to ask that question. The time to ask that question was back in the first quarter of 2023. I know that's not the answer that you want, Artur. It kind of sucks, but you got to learn. You got to learn that opportunity is when everyone's not asking the question, what can I buy? When everyone's asking, what should I sell? What should I do because everything is going to go wrong when there's blood in the streets? That's when you should be asking, what can I buy? Now everything's going well, and the price reflects it. You're buying good. You just have to hope that it stays good. All right, let's run through these things. Amazon, which is basically the trade of the century in my mind. I mean, for real, like from the bottom of 2001 to the top of 2021, we had a 50% retracement to 94.20, and bloop. I mean, not to jinx it or anything, but if we go out into the 2030s, because, I mean, for real, is Amazon going to go away? No. Opportunity of the century. It's gone, though. Sorry. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you had to be doing in the beginning of the year to really capture. Now, you're going to have to be smart. You may get some kind of a little pullback in here and here and here, but it can be a little dicey. Activision Blizzard, bleh. I mean, it's coming up. I mean, it was supposed to happen in June. It looks like it's going to happen, but I don't know what they're going to do about these British regulators. Anyway, I've still got the shares in the merger arb trade. I'm going to hold on to them until Microsoft buys them out. They're going to. Caterpillar. This is another trade from back in March. This was basically a March trade held, and it's looking pretty good. I think this is another good long term. It's a pullback off of a 50%. Like I said, that happened in March. EMN, yeah, this stock is another materials company. It's just kind of holding. Kroger, because obligatory Kroger. I still get my groceries there. MetLife, this was another great recent opportunity. This was in May and June as well. As a 50% coming off of 50 of 50, rising off of that. Norwegian Cruise Lines. I've taken some profit on this, but YOLO. I'm just going to let this thing ride. I mean, this was a spike that happened in March. Again, a lot of these opportunities that we're seeing really bear fruit now, 4 months later, happen in March. Now things are going well. But remember March. March was the banking crisis. The economy was going to fall because we're going to have another 2008, but worse. All these opportunities that are doing really well were in March when things looked the bleakest. All 2 banks failed in the United States because they had horrible loan-to-deposit ratios. But the media was like, I don't believe in conspiracies. I don't believe in, I try not to, except when they become true. I don't believe in these shady cabals of people getting together and, controlling the world over multi-generational, timelines and things like that. But I do think that hedge fund managers work with financial journalists to pump narratives that fit what they want to achieve, which is returns. And I would not be surprised. In fact, maybe I should just make a spin on my YouTube talkings about how it's all a big conspiracy, because people love conspiracies. Bill Ackman does it pretty openly. Goes on CNBC and talks about his book. COVID was a big thing that he went on and talked about how we had to close everything. People were going to die, and that just happened to be the bottom. And he also happened to be billions of dollars short the market, so he was really trying to get as much fear as possible. 100% they will do that. And I think that March this year is going to go down in history as the opportunity of the year. But at the time, think about it. Think about what you were reading. Think about what you were feeling. Think about what they wanted you to think. They wanted you to be bearish. Why? So that they could buy things cheap, so that you would sell them, so the market would sell off, and they could get a great opportunity. Now, you don't hear about the banking crisis at all. It was pretty apparent to me within a week or two that it was a nothing burger. But man, did the financial news talk about it. Why? Because it gets people interested. Home Depot, another great company. This is one I posted on TradingView. This was a spike on earnings, which also happened to occur right at the 50% of a major move from 2020 to the all-time high. Yeah, right there. Bing. I don't know why I have this level right here, but this was a great opportunity there on earnings, like there. Opening few minutes of the day, May the 16th. Bing. Picked up some Home Depot. It's Home Depot. It's not going anywhere. And then, of course, another of the great... Okay, here you go, Archer. Buy banks. If you see banks that have good balance sheets, if you want to do the time, or just my favorite, which is Truist Financial, TFC, has a great dividend yield. March's FUD, fear, uncertainty, of doubt, crashed banks, and they haven't quite recovered yet. And I think a lot of that has to do with the interest rate decisions, because they're still carrying a lot of these bonds with low yields on their balance sheet, which is dragging down the valuation of their company. But what are some of the other ones? Bank of America. Yeah, still down, still pretty much down. I don't have this position, but it looks like I drew it up. The opportunities, I think, are still there for banks for the long term. So that's one of the things. So Target, like I said, is giving me a little bit of grief. May cut it come Monday. Tesla, I thought that maybe we would get, while I was gone, some sort of a hold of this level, this 257, 260 level, because it's the 50% of the all-time high down to the low. But no, even though it did a little maneuver here, this little gap up right here, that just like gives it the finger to that resistance level. I didn't sell any of it because I'm just going to be a little bit autistic about it at this point, holding on to Tesla shares forever, because as long as I have a car, at least. So yeah. All right, now listen. I'm sorry, I am remiss. I need to catch up on everyone's what people want to look at. All right. So Rivian, I've seen the chats about Rivian. I still actually own Rivian from, I think, about $18 a share. Oh, good. They're up again. Well, that's nice. The thing about, wait, did I buy them up there? I hope that's not my actual buy price there. Maybe it is. I think I've just been bag holding Rivian that long. Rip. Okay, so I'm not that interested. Honestly, I had that as kind of like a copy trade with my friends. And I actually considered getting a Rivian truck, because I want a truck. I'm a guy. I want to move things. And I want an EV. But Rivian doesn't have the self-driving that Tesla has. Rivian doesn't have the AI generated, or I'm basically a beta tester. I'm basically providing Tesla with data with my driving. I actually look forward to driving it. And it's not just because it's a new car. Yeah, it is part of that. But anyway, Rivian, it may fill a niche of, SUV, truck, EVs, but they don't have the bells and whistles that Tesla has. But good for, my bag hold coming back a little bit. Speaking of bag holds, Palantir. What do you guys think? Is it a good idea to basically double down along at about this point right here? Like, if you took all your winnings for the year and then doubled down. Like basically, bet it all happening in 2 weeks. Is that smart? All right. Let's check out the all right, Hood. Robinhood. I still have a Robinhood account, but I haven't logged into it in a long time. I mean, these are speaking of bag holds. My personal fundamental take on Robinhood is this: I've been a trader for 10 years now. I've used Thinkorswim, I've used TradingView, and I use what works as far as a platform. And I also use Tastyworks for options trading. And so I've been and am very deep into the, consumer tech, the tech of trading. And Robinhood came on the scene making things easy. It came at the right time with stimmy checks and people being at home and trading. It made it into a game, a smartphone app. But as a trader, Robinhood has actually counterproductive features for trading because I can't look at this. I can't even see a chart that's useful to me in Robinhood. In fact, the chart that it shows is not. I can't do my analysis on it. I can't look at advanced option spreads. You can do a spread, but you can't really see all that you need to make the decision there. So Robinhood had a very interesting approach. It came at the right time, but it offers nothing that any other platform cannot. And it didn't really capture a long-term demographic. Boomers are still with Schwab, which now owns pretty much everything. And boomers have a lot of money. The people that are using Robinhood are Zoomers and Millennials, and they're broke. Partly because their wages are stagnant, and partly because they blew it all on Robinhood. So I just don't. I mean, if you have Robinhood stock, you're a bag holder and you're just kind of waiting for an event like Rivian to happen. But honestly, now that I'm being so negative about Robinhood and I'm seeing this Rivian move, maybe I just take. I think when you have these kind of bag holds, eventually you're going to see some kind of like a pump like this. It happens again and again and again. Remember GME? Remember how GME did its its pumps, but it still just has not done anything since then. So in any of these bag hold situations, you're going to have these sort of whoa, whoa, whoa. You're going to get these pumps where everyone's super excited about it, but rather than being that relief from losses, it's really an opportunity for you to get a little bit of that cash back and put it in something better. So Robinhood has not had such a thing, which kind of speaks to the fact that, I mean, there's not really much going on with them unique. But if you do get some kind of a pull up in price, you might want to look into putting that in something better. I mean, you can get 4.5% in a savings account now. That might be better because the return on Robinhood over what looks like the last 2 years has been minus 10%. Oh, you can get 4.65% in Robinhood accounts, a money market account. Well. There you go. Just sell all your shares and put them in cash in Robinhood. You could do that. That would do it. All right. Let's see here. NNOX. And we're coming up into the last few minutes, guys. And I've got to go do some real estate stuff. So if you got anything to look at, put it in the chat. NNOX. NanoX Imaging. That sounds fancy. Well, it's one of these where people come in and they ask me, hey, something mooned. Do I buy it? Well, sure. You have this April to June move. Pretty nice little move. Came back down to the 50%. 50% has some inflection, some past highs here. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to be mad at all. I'm not going to be mad. I like that. Yeah, didn't quite get out of the cloud for a full weekly trend, But what we're going to do is we're going to put this on our YOLOs list where people go, or is it already on there? No. Okay. NNOX, where I like it when people come into the chat here and tell me things to look at so that I can then come back and see, okay, was this the right thing or not? Because I like YOLOs. All right. Let's look at some of these that I haven't looked at in a while. This was one where, yeah, basically I told someone, hey, it needs to come up and retest this high. Otherwise, it's kind of deadly. Sure enough, I was right. INJ, this one right here, it broke the high. And at that point, I was like, you're Gucci. Notice how it, who is calling me? I'll call him back. It came to the 50% here back in March on this injective protocol. I'm not sure what this is, but obviously a cryptocurrency. But this is a lot like what NOX is doing. You have that first big bull move up, pulls back to a 50% level. That's the same thing that this thing did right here. You get that first big move, pull back to 50%. It's good. It's good. AI also was like that too. AI was a really good, interesting case about how it came up in 50%, 50%, 50%, and then up. And then BBAI, this one, it did not hold its 50%, and now it's a back hold. So, likely delivery service. One moment, please. Hang on. Let me see. Hello? Okay, that's probably spam. I don't think I have any packages coming. Okay. All right. So let's see. Jen's got a bunch for me. RCL. Yeah. Oh, wait. Rig. What's Rig doing? Transocean. Hey, look at that. People still need oil to come out of the ocean floor. So this is a daily. Well. You do not have a close. Wait, hold on. Nope. You got a failure to close above the high there. That is, you need to watch that going into next week. This is one that you need to watch for. Yeah, you need to watch this for a short, actually. See what happens on this. Let me make a note. This is a good one to watch. Notice how, at the beginning I'm disorganized right now. Rig false breakout high. So notice how I was talking at the beginning how a lot of the bullish opportunities happen in March, and we're coming into this part of the year where everyone's super bullish. These are things that I want to look for. These are bearish opportunities where if the market does go down from here after being so bullish, that they're going to have a lot more oomph to them. You want to look for weakness, and false breakout is one of my favorites. So watch for Rig. Good call on that. What does it mean when my stock, RCL, beat the $100 benchmark, but has been trading sideways for about a week since then? Fuck BlackRock. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, I think a lot of people should know that, like, BlackRock, when they start getting their grubby little paws on something, it's not good. But the Bitcoin people, they want to be they want to be billionaire. Well, they don't care about dollars, but they still want a billion of them. They want to be the next, ultra wealthy. Because why? Because they think they deserve it, because they're so smart. But I'm not interested anymore, honestly. If BlackRock's getting into it, why? RCL, it beat the $100. Okay, what's going on here is you just being impatient, like trading sideways for a few days. Did you get like really, really excited about like seeing it go up every day, and then this week it hasn't gone up every day? You're up, you're up over 100% year to date. Quit being spoiled. I love you, man, but I mean, seriously, something's up. Something has doubled in a year, and you're complaining that it doesn't go up every day. Namaste. Peace be upon you. It's fine. It's fine. At some point, it's going to pull back. So don't start getting all like emotional because it's not going up. Because at some point in the near future, before the end of this year, stocks are going to go down. That's what they do. But you're already up 100%. So I would just peace be upon you. Peace be upon you. Just relax. Relax. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, now I answered your RCL. I didn't miss you. So all right, what else we got? Ally. What are we doing in Ally? I don't see anything interesting. This is one of those rather very uninteresting things where it's not at a 50%. In fact, it came to a 50%, which definitely had a reason to hold. Broke it, came up to here, and yeah, this thing is in the valley of risk. Ally is in the valley of risk. Um, okay, this was in relation to bank stocks. Got it. Here's what I would wonder about Ally. If one were so inclined to pick it up, what is the dividend yield? 4.46%. Yeah, you can get that in a savings account. No, not interested. AMD. Oh yeah, AMD has been like ripping it up. What was the thing about that Biden did that kind of tanked it a little bit? Because it doesn't seem to be doing that back. Oh, look at this. Wait, I must have looked at this a few weeks ago. Dude, this is a really good buy. Because you did catch it here in October, but you came to the 50%. Okay, I think last live stream, which would have been 2 weeks ago, I think it was Friday the 23rd. We looked at this pulling back to here, and then now what you've got is you have a pullback to the 50% at the 50%. This is a good way to structure a trade right here, actually. So I may need to do something in this Monday. I'm still looking for bullish stuff. Maybe. Gotta be careful though. So far, that's holding though. I mean, where this goes bad is, of course, if it breaks below 105. But now you've got a new inflection point right here. You got the 110 level. So yeah, that's good. This thing should hold this 112, and you should come up and retest this high, and then in the long term, I could see this thing come up and retesting the next high. So little step up that it's doing right here. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, you could do a pairs trade. I haven't done those in a very long time. You don't really want to do the long and the short shares wise. I think people do that. What my mentor used to try to do is pairs trading, where they would do vertical spreads, vertical call spreads in one, vertical put spreads in the other, and that would effectively do a pairs trade. But I never really liked the risk reward on those. So as usual, got Target left at after 2 days. Well, I mean, Target's not really doing much. It's not really doing much right now, so I don't think you're missing out on much. So, all right. Anything else you got for me? Thanks for joining me again this Friday. Should be back to normal. I don't see any other interruptions in my near future. I have taken my summer trip. Hoping eventually in a few weeks I'll be in my new place, but I'm pretty content living here with the girl, and but I'll hopefully have a new office, nice and new and shiny and plenty of natural light once the wheels of renovations finish turning. So, all right. Well, as always, links below. Come join Discord where I do post these updates, and we talk about these ideas on a regular basis when I'm not on vacation. And hope to see you there. Until then, trade wisely. See you guys next week.